everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Lady Flo. Today in this podcast, what I want to do is, I know it's been a while, I missed you so much and I've been wanting to do this video for such a long time, but I really want to take the time to really go through the process and see how I emerge from it. And now that I'm feeling much better, and I thought it was a great time to talk to you. So today, it's probably going to be the most vulnerable video that I've shot, and it's about when it's time to pull the plug on a prep. And what I'm going to share with you is my personal journey, and I've learned a lot, and how I got there. It's going to be very different for several people. You know, it's like really like individual variable, and how you get out of overtraining syndrome, or the several names that people call it, is it's going to look different for everyone. So, and this may apply to you, that may not be for everyone, but I'm doing this video because when I was not feeling like myself and I couldn't find information, and it was so hard for me to find information. So that may be the one, just to let you know that you're not alone and that you can get out of this as well. And also this video is going to be useful to you, also to show it as an example to how to prevent from getting there, and lessons I've learned as a competitor in bodybuilding who's prepping, and now I was able to come out of it and hopefully able to prep again. So let me start. So overtraining syndrome, there's a lot of debate about it, about people not believing in it. Basically, what it is a point where you sort of like fatigue your body, and your body is not responding. And that happened to me about 8 months ago. I was in my prep. There was a lot of things happening, and out of the blue, I wasn't feeling well, and I had to pull the plug on the prep, and it was so hard for me. I would say, although my body was not feeling well, but it was so hard for me mentally to do so, more so than it was physically. And now that I think about it, I probably had some of those symptoms a long time ago. So let me actually look at what are they saying in terms of definition of overtraining. Okay, let me read the definition of overtraining syndrome. So, overtraining syndrome, or OTS, is described as a combination of physical and mental abnormalities that result from cumulative high-level physical activity that is not accompanied by adequate recovery. So, overtraining syndrome is generally used to refer as abnormal and persistent state characterized by physical, mental, hormonal, and immunological dysfunction. Other terms include burnout, more commonly used now for non-athletic stress, and adaptation failure or training stress syndrome, and unexplained underperformance syndrome. So that's the definition. So now that we got into the definition overtraining syndrome, and it's really hard to get diagnosed with it, and not a lot of physicians are familiar with that. Like, trust me, I had conversation, but if you're not feeling well in your prep and you know something is wrong, you have to listen to your body. And I'm so happy I did that, because if I would have continued, my recovery would have been so much longer, and I don't want to know what the type of damage I would have caused. So some of the symptoms, I think they vary a lot across individual. And like I said, a lot of people don't believe in that, but if it happens to you, you know something is wrong. So some of the symptoms that I personally exhibit, and now that I think about it, I probably had um, experienced that as well after my first bodybuilding post show. Is that I started having like sort of like night sweat, like sweating profusely, and to the point that you're wondering like, what's going on? Like, did I, did I, it's like it's you're sweating a lot, and also I started having that's more after my first prep. I started having like crippling pain in my legs to the point that um, I couldn't move. Like I couldn't even go up the stairs, and it was painful. It felt like knives, needles after my first prep. But while I was doing this prep, um, I started having those same symptoms that I had post my first show, and that's probably the reason why I took it a little bit more serious and decided to do something about it. And besides the night sweats, obviously I was very fatigued. But another thing um, that I had going on is that at this point, I was really training like crazy, and my cardio was crazy. My diet at this point was extreme because my body was not responding really well, so we had to do extreme stuff, and 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 my body was just like shutting down, like just shutting down. And in addition to that, I was going through a lot in my life personally. I had a big change, and I was a lot of stressed, really stressed, and I was not, as much as I was training during my cardio and extreme diet, I was not having the recovery. I was not recovering in terms of I was compromising my sleep, and I definitely learned the hard way because I remember that. I remember it. You know, I had to choose between like um, I had to choose between doing my training um, and then my sleep. And then I would just go on and just missed a few hours, just sleep a few hours. And for as much as I was pushing, and at that time, I believe I didn't even have carbs, and my body shut down. And in a week or so, I came back, and the next day, literally, my weight had gone up like 10 pounds. And it's not because I was eating anything. It was just, I just started to, had a water gain, and I don't know what happened. And I frantically started looking stuff, and thankfully, I found a little bit information of what I had. And I knew that the two things that I need to do, it was train less. You're gonna have to do like a final formula. It's not exact, but that's what I did. It worked for me. I train less, you either train less, and then you're gonna have to eat more. And so I started introducing some carbs back into my diet, and I reduced my training. But you have to remember, I was right maybe 6 or 10 weeks out from a prep. So like my prep was lasting a little bit longer because I had pushed a few dates. And so by that time, my prep was very long. I don't know how long I've been in prep. Like it was a long time. And I was doing extreme cardio and extreme diet for some long time. And my body just shut down because I was not recovering properly. I was stressed. My cortisol levels were high, and I was not sleeping. So you can imagine this was a formula for disaster. And personally, yeah, I was going through a lot, and my body's just basically burnout. It was not necessarily like a mental burnout, but it was like definitely a physical burnout, and my body was not responding. And so, like I said, the way you get out is very different for everyone. And even it was so hard for me because I was really full into prep. It was hard for me to to press the brakes, because mentally in my head, like, I didn't want to stop training. It's hard to say, but once you start that machine, it's hard to stop. But I took a break, and then my weight, the 10 pounds that I've gained like in 2 days or whatnot, slowly went back down. But then my menstrual cycle happened, and then I probably started resuming training, and I probably started resuming too early, and then my weight went up 14 pounds, literally, during my men's cycle. And then I was like, whoa. And that really gave me a signal like, okay, Florence, this is no joke. You need to take this seriously. And so I probably had to take a few, like even a week of not training and just eating like slowly, regularly, and slowly back my weight went back down, not all the way back to baseline, but that 14 pounds slowly went down. And it's like in the span of like 6 weeks, I had gained up and down like 30 pounds. And that's crazy, right? So you know something is wrong. And so I know from that on that I had to pull out from my prep. It was so hard for me mentally, because I'm always been a type of person that, you know, I give 100% and I go hard. But I'm thankful for that experience, because I've learned, because of what had happened, of that failure. I felt like a failure, the failure that I had. I was able now to basically readjust and do things differently, moving on. So for several weeks or even a few months, I had to really not even really lift weights. Like I had to sort of like stop the cardio, do like elastic bench trainings. Like, not that they don't have a place, but I hated that. It was so hard mentally. But I needed to give that break to my body so I could be a better place to respond. And so I did that, and it took about, I would say, about 8 months of recovery to do so. So what are the lessons I've learned? Because sometimes when you're in prep, you think that I was like that, is that I would overdo it. I would overdo it with cardio. Even if it was written only do that much, to me it was like more is better. So even during my off season, I would do crazy amounts of cardio, and that was so hard to. So imagine when you prep, you're gonna even have to do more. So basically, it was like I was like one of these triathlon athletes usually experience these type of things, because they put their body through so much. But everybody has different break points, and I reached mine. So thankfully, I'm doing things differently now. I'm not doing crazy cardio. I'm not doing more cardio than on top what is prescribed. I'm actually resting on rest days before I did not rest. I'm resting now. I'm doing active recovery more. I'm doing massage. And so basically, I've learned to be smarter, train smarter, to prevent injury, and also to listen to my body and give it the rest that it needs. And now I'm in a better position for next time if I want to cut, if I want to prep, because I gave my body the rest it needed. So hopefully this video was useful to you, or may not. Let me know if you experience those type of symptoms, of if you had to pull out a prep. And sometimes you're gonna have to do what's best for your health, and you're gonna have to put your health first. Yeah, sometimes you have to put your health first, put your ego aside, and do what is best long term, because sometimes it's not worth it to do the costliest damages to your body. If that's something you want to do for a long time, a long term, for a long time, you need to do it right. So never ever compromise your sleep. Now I understand. Listen to your coach and ask questions. If you don't understand things, listen to your body. First of all, like, get your blood work, get it checked out and stuff. But maybe this video will be a step for you to get some help and know that you're not alone, and that you will get out of this hole. You will recover, you will do better, and you could do it again. So thank you for listening, and hope to see you soon. Bye.